Generally, my preferred way to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is with a competitive rule set, standard stages, no items, that sort of thing. But recently my main got banned, so much for that idea. So then, guess we'll stay focused on the non-competitive side. Items in the Super Smash Bros. Series are infamous for causing matches to be very chaotic. That's not a bad thing, of course. In fact, playing with items can be a lot of fun sometimes. There's a large variety of items in Smash Ultimate, from those that can attack, heal, spawn more items, and so on. However, not every item in the Super Smash Bros. Series has made it to Ultimate. In fact, there's actually quite a decent amount of items that have been removed over time. Unlike the character roster, which has everyone, and the stage list, which is only missing a few, most of which being pretty understandable cuts, the item list is missing over 20 different items. Today, we're going to take a look at those items, talk about what they did, and if I want or think they'll ever return in Smash 6. Also, I just want to mention that I'm not going to include any cut Pokemon, assist trophies, or final smashes. I think I'll do those in a future video, but I figure I should mention that now because people would definitely be annoying about it in the comments if I didn't. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right into Smash 64. With Smash 64 being the very first Smash game, you may expect for there to be not that many items missing, and you'd be correct in that assumption as there's only 3 items missing from here. The first one we have to take a look at is the fan. This is present in Smash 64, Melee, and Brawl, but for items that make multiple appearances, we'll just cover them once. The fan is a Smash original item. When used, the player will be able to rapidly attack their opponent. While that may sound like a really good item, it only deals 2% per hit. Now it can actually deal a surprising amount of shield damage, but in all honesty, this is not really an item you're ever looking for. There are so many better battering items in Ultimate already that most people will more than likely just ignore this. I guess you could say, I'm not really a fan. Do I think this will return though? Probably not. While it was present for 3 Smash games, making it far from the least likely item, I just don't see them going through the effort to add this back when most people couldn't really care less. Our next item though is a much different story, that being the red shell. This is of course taken from the Mario series, though it functions much more similarly to its Mario Kart counterpart. When used, it'll slide along the ground, homing in on the closest character. For whatever reason though, this also applies to the person who threw it. Not really sure why they did that, but I hope that'd be removed if this ever came back. Just like the green shell, the red shell can be activated by being jumped on, but unlike the green shell, it also has set knockback. That means no matter what percent the person getting hit is at, they'll fly the exact same distance. Again, not really sure why this is done, it feels like a very odd feature to have. One last little detail about this item is the fact that it can't go off edges once it's moving, which may be a reference to Red Koopas not walking off edges, which I do think is pretty cute. So in my opinion, this is conceptually a pretty cool item. Red shells are extremely well known, and this is a unique feature no other item has. However, they completely botched the execution here. There are just so many things about it that don't make any sense. So I do hope this comes back in a later Smash game, just with these problems fixed. I do think it's got a solid chance as well, seeing as it was in both Smash 64 and Melee, and as I said, it's a very popular item from the Mario Kart series. Now that was technically all of the items that could spawn in a standard Smash match that aren't in Ultimate. However, there are a few items that act a bit differently from the rest when it comes to where they can spawn and how they work. I'm getting this list of items from the Smash Wiki, so if you disagree with me calling any of these extra ones items, take it up with them. Smash 64 only has one of these special items not seen in Ultimate, that being the target. Now like I said, this does act very differently as it's not something you pick up but rather destroy. It also is only present in the game's target tests. In this mode, each character had their own stage where you have to use their unique moveset to break said targets. This mode was a really creative way to show off each character's movesets. Melee even expanded on this idea for its roster. Sadly though, by the time Brawl came around, target smash stages for every character was probably too difficult due to the roster size, so instead there were just 5 stages that everyone shared. Safe to say, this was very lame and no one liked it, so they updated the mode again in Smash 4 to be Target Blast. In this mode, characters would have to deal damage and knock back the bomb to try and get as many points as possible. While I would argue this is better than Brawl's version, it's still not great, so in Ultimate, they just cut anything related to targets. Yeah, it's really sad, but looking at the roster, there's no way we get a unique stage for every character ever again. I could see Target Blast returning in a future title, but that's about it. Alright, time for Melee, and they upped the item count fairly significantly. Starting us off, we have the barrel cannon from the Donkey Kong series. Now before you nerds hey, get down, I see you. Before you nerds start getting mad, yes, the barrel cannon can still be found in Ultimate, however it's only as a stage hazard in Congo Jungle and Congo Falls. In Melee, this item would basically act the same. Once thrown, it'll pick up opponents and launch them in a direction. This wasn't really that good of an item though, and since the launch star is basically just an infinitely better version of it, I think it's safe to assume this won't return. The flipper's in a pretty similar boat. This comes from from Balloon Fight and knocks anyone away that touches it, including the person who threw it. This is basically exactly the same as the bumper item, and considering the bumper is far more iconic at this point, I doubt we'll ever see the flipper again. Well, outside of the Balloon Fight stage anyway, where it does make a small appearance. But onto some actually unique items, I first want to take a look at the cloaking device. This comes from Perfect Dark and will make the person who picked it up temporarily invisible. Now this is a pretty interesting gimmick, as on the one hand, your opponent can no longer see what attack you're doing, meaning you could get away with a very strong smash attack, but on the other hand, you yourself can't see where you are. I do honestly quite like the idea behind this one. Sure, it's far from the strongest item, but it is pretty unique. Now the invisibility effect is still an ultimate, there's just no item that directly gives it to you. You could get it from the custom smash menu, from Heroes Hocus Pocus, from certain assist trophies, and so on. I could definitely see an item with a similar use coming in the future, whether it be this, the invisibility cap, or something else. It took me like 7 minutes to get the hero footage, by the way, you all better like it. The last main item from Melee that's not seen in Ultimate is the Parasol. This comes from the Kirby series and can be used to deal minor damage to your opponents. The main use though is the fact that it'll actually slow your fall speed, pretty much exactly like Peach's up special. One really neat thing about this item is the fact that each character actually got a unique animation when they're floating with it. I love the items that have these special animations. Sadly though, that's likely also the reason, or a big contributor, as to why this hasn't returned. Melee's roster is much smaller than Ultimate, so Nintendo going through the effort to animate a unique float for every single character for this one item seems a bit too extreme. Plus they also have the Super Leaf now, which doesn't work exactly the same, but they both have a purpose of slowing down someone's fall. So while the Parasol is definitely an item I'd like to see come back, it's not one I think we'll see anytime soon. Those were all the main items for Melee, but we still got 3 more special ones. First off is the trophy, which were the main collectibles of Melee, Brawl, and Smash 4. There were many ways to collect trophies, but the main ones we want to look at here involve the single player snag the trophies minigame and the trophies that can be found in adventure mode. Upon being collected, the trophy will be added to your collection. This item will come back if trophies do, which I do think is possible. Yoshi's egg is our next item we need to touch on. Now yes, Yoshi does use an egg in his up special, but that's not really an actual item, just a projectile. The Yoshi's egg item is exclusive to event number 13 in Melee, where the goal is to stop it from breaking. It'll break after receiving enough damage, so this item is more so just to be something you have to hold on to. A very creative event to be sure, but obviously the item itself isn't interesting enough to warrant a comeback. And the final Melee items are actually something I was surprised didn't come back to Ultimate, that being the Smash coins and bills. These were the main objectives in the Smash mode called Coin Battle. Basically, whenever you hit or KO an opponent, they'll drop some money. Whoever has the most money by the end wins. Despite being a fairly odd mode, this actually survived in both Brawl and Smash 4. I can't imagine there's any actual issues with this, so this could very easily return in Smash 6. That's it for our Melee items, so now let's jump into Brawl. Brawl has the most items for us to talk about with a total of 12, so let's just jump right into the first one being the Cracker Launcher. This is a Smash original item and can be used to fire out explosives toward the opponent. You could even control the angle you fired out explosives by tilting the character's head up and down. If I were to guess why this was cut, I'd imagine it has something to do with the animation difficulties with the tilting gimmick, but I can't imagine it'd be that hard to do. It's a pretty neat item, so I'd be happy to have it back. Guess Steve will remain the only character who could tilt his head. Take that, loser! Oh yeah, right. The other 2 main items from Brawl are also in Smash 4, so I'm just gonna get footage from there since it's way easier on me. The Spring item comes from the Donkey Kong series, and I'll be completely honest, I thought this is an Ultimate for the longest time. I only found out it wasn't when I was making my Hop Chop Spirit battle for my Every Mario Maker 2 Enemy Spirit video. This works exactly like you'd think. You bounce. It's not really that useful, so I totally understand this one being cut, and I don't really see it coming back. Our last main Brawl item is the Team Healer, which I had absolutely zero memory of. I played nearly 1,000 hours of Smash 4, which I guess is technically nothing compared to my Ultimate time, but I spent a lot of it playing casually. When I saw a picture of this, I did remember it, but yeah, this one is very forgettable. This will only spawn in team battles, where a person can throw it at their teammate to heal them. If it hits an opponent though, it'll deal damage, which is pretty nice because you don't want to accidentally help the enemy. Wait, okay, sometimes it can heal the opponent? Well, that's stupid. Yeah, I don't see this one coming back, especially since a lot of its functionality is pretty similar to the Healing Sprout. Despite that being the last main item, we still have 9 more to talk about as this game had quite a few special ones. The first of which is the Pokemon Bonsly, which I guess is a bit of a spoiler for the Cup Pokemon and Assist Trophies video. You'll be able to spawn from a Pokeball and can be picked up and thrown at opponents. This does a massive 30% of hit, but he doesn't get thrown very far, and he acts as a heavy item similar to a crate, meaning it's hard to move around with him. I think this is a pretty solid concept for a Pokeball Pokemon, though he's pretty much just a worse human, so I don't really see him coming back anytime soon. The CD and sticker are very similar to the trophies we mentioned before, as they both act as collectibles in the game and will be added to the game's collection when picked up. Unlike stickers and trophies, the CDs are technically still things in Ultimate since the game still requires the player to unlock songs. It's not through the CD item though, rather the in-game shop, so that's why it's not in Ultimate anymore. While it was fun to scramble for a CD whenever it appeared in a match, I do prefer Ultimate's way of getting music, so I'd be fine with these items not coming back. Our next items come from 2 of Brawl's newcomers, Zero Suit Samus and Wario. For ZS ZSS, she used to work very differently, as Brawl still had the mechanic of transforming characters. Yes, Ultimate also has it with Pokemon Trainer and Pythra, but in Brawl, Zelda and Sheik used to be combined, and Samus and ZSS used to be combined. So to represent Zero Suit Samus leaving her suit, the Power Suit pieces were added as items. After using Samus's final smash and transforming, these would drop on the ground and could be thrown for a bit of damage. It's not really that exciting, and since Samus and ZSS are two separate characters now, I don't think this will ever come back. As for Wario's item, it has to do with his bike. Now yes, this is still an item in Ultimate, however in Brawl you could actually break the bike down to leave two of its wheels as items. These once again just act as simple things to throw to deal damage, with the back wheel generally doing more damage. Oh yeah, did you know that Steve is the only character in Ultimate who is able to throw the bike down off stage? Please don't ban him, he's so funny. The last 4 items from Brawl come from the game's Subspace Emissary. So I'm just gonna say right now, I don't think any of these are gonna be returning. The first of these is the Aurorus, which is an enemy that can be picked up and thrown if it misses an attack. Nothing really that special. The key will be able to unlock doors if the player runs into the door while holding it, or they throw the key at it. This would be completely useless in a real match, but if Smash 6 has a more interesting story mode, then this could come back. The stock ball will give the player who picked it up an extra stock. It's neat in Subspace, but in Ultimate we already have the special flag, which is also used to give an extra stock, so this would be generally worthless. And the final item from Brawl is the Trophy Stand, which will turn whatever it hits into a trophy. It'll only work if the opponent is at low health though, so it should be used carefully. I think this is a really cool way to let the player get trophies, and while I don't think it'll ever return, it was a really creative idea, so I have to give them that. It's actually a ton of stand exclusive trophies, so making sure to use them properly is a must. But that's it for Brawl. One more game to go with Smash 4. Smash 4 is actually one of our smallest games in terms of new cut items. In fact, we already covered the main ones in the Brawl section, which only leaves us with just 4 more special items. Actually, scratch that, we already mentioned the Target Blast Bomb in Smash 64, so we only got 3 left. First is the custom part. This spawns just like trophies, CDs, and stickers we mentioned before, as these were one of the game's main collectibles. These could include Mii outfits, equipment, or even custom moves. These sucked to get, by the way. Remember how I said I had nearly 1,000 hours in this game? Yeah, I still don't have them all. They made getting custom moves in this game a pain for absolutely no reason. It left a really sour taste in many people's mouths to the point where I do not see them ever trying again. The other 2 items both come from Smash Run, which actually is a mode I think could return since it was a fan favorite. The first item is just the chest, which is open to give the second item the stat boosts. These can increase things like speed, strength, defense, jump height, and so on. It was a lot of fun trying to increase these stats, which is one of the main reasons this mode was so popular. Sadly though, it didn't return in Ultimate, so all I have to say is I really hope it does sometime in the future. But anyways, that's it for this video. Is the Flipper your favorite item in the franchise, so you obsessively play on Balloon Fight to relive the glory days? Let me know in the comments. I had a lot of fun doing research for this one, and I'm happy you all seem to be enjoying this cut series as much as I am. But anyways, dry bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.